All right, we
All right.
are recording to the cloud.
All right, so welcome everybody to our first MVP Office Hours of the 2021 year. It is awesome to see all of you, and thanks for joining. Where to start? So just a reminder, the schedule of every other Tuesday is going to line back up in February as expected. This is kind of a, I think this is off cycle, right? Yes, but we'll be back on track in February for your expected 2 days. As a reminder, the three hosts, Joy and Dale and myself, are available on Twitter if need be. All of our logos are there. MVPofficehours.info is our website, and you can always email us at mvpofficehoursus at gmail.com. I believe that's correct. The events page, we were just talking about this a second ago. The events link on Trailblazer Community is not functioning, but if you play around with the URL, you can sneak up on the actual endpoint. So I'm going to send an email in and get that fixed, hopefully, or help get that fixed. But there are events scheduled for January in virtual that we weren't aware of until just today. Cactus Force is this weekend still available to register. Nonprofit Dreamin' is virtual as well at the end of the month. The SoFlo Dreamin' link is shows February on the community page. The website isn't entirely clear, so if that's something that you're interested in, I definitely just recommend registering and see what they start sending you. That's what's coming up in the next couple months. As we've talked in the past, everything is still a bit virtual, darn it, but that's part of it. So let's see here. Next up would be our next meeting will be in 2 weeks, as I mentioned. But in the meantime, EMEA and Portuguese MVP Office Hours are always going on. You don't have to speak the language, the native language, to be part of that. There's always translators and great MVPs who are helping with that. So don't hesitate to log in. 2 weeks for the next meeting, register at the normal website, and the normal, we've done this so many times, I bet you we could all do it together, but just a reminder, we are recording. So if you don't want to be recorded, or something you need to share or discuss can't be recorded, then unfortunately we won't be able to include you in the conversation. You're still welcome to stay and listen in, but we can't let you present. And if you do present, because sharing your screen is very valuable and useful, it also shouldn't be your production org, and it shouldn't be something that shouldn't be shared with the world. Again, recorded and a group of people that, although we act like we know each other, we don't all know each other. So keep that in mind. In the meantime, stay on mute, but announce yourself and let yourself be heard. Raise your hand or post your question in the chat, and we will keep track of who's next up in the list to have that conversation and lead those questions. So with that, let's get a quick roll call. How many MVPs joined us today? 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what? There's lots of us. We're all MVPs at heart. So welcome to the show. Carlos, it's good to see you. All right. So with that, why don't we go ahead and jump right in?
So this is Christy's question that came in an email, and I know I did a horrible copy paste job here, but Christy, if you want to unmute and just give us a little bit of context on the contact and opportunity contact roles, please.
Sure. Not much really to add, but basically we have a new org. I'm now the administrator for this particular org as well. So I'm still trying to feel my way through, but this seems to be a problem other places. Have a sales manager who's like, hey, I don't want to have to go out of adding you're telling me I have to add a contact role, but now I don't have my contact role. I don't want to have to leave this field, leave my opportunity, go to my account, go there and add a contact, and then come back the whole way through. Isn't there an easier way to do this? And so in my Googling this morning, I came across this webinar and I sent you the question. So that's about as far as I have dug in at this point. I mean, I know that there are other places, on a straight lookup, I can add a contact with through a straight lookup. So I was just wondering if you knew of another way of doing this.
I mean, pretty much anything and everything in this realm is possible with a flow, but that's still also dependent on where where your users would need to be doing it, how much information is already available in the system to leverage, how much new information do you need to create along the way. There's a couple of open variables in that ultimate path, but short answer is through a screen flow. Longer answer is how much information do you actually have at your disposal to do that adequately.
Trying to think, at this point, it's a fairly basic org. There's not a lot of code or a lot of other things that are prevented. There's not a lot of required fields on the contact. It's coming from the opportunity. So you would have the access to the account information to attach the contact to. Sorry, just kind of running it through some of the basic things.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if the primary question is it possible to add the new contact through the opportunity contact role interface? That's where the question, like,
is contact role one of those weird, like, I'm going to call them second class citizens, but you know, doing something under the covers. And so as a result, it doesn't want you to, like, I'm thinking about, like, you know, opportunity team members, things like that. Like, all of those kind of have their own little interface. Is roles one of those too?
I
Joy
think
is
so.
nodding her head vigorously.
It's special.
it's super special, like account team, opportunity team, all of that.
That's what I was afraid of.
Now, again, going back, it's special, but it's also not, because again, going back to something like a screen flow, once you get into flow, the whole org is at your disposal, and it's no different than a picture a flow chart, picture a process flow. You can do any number of things in a single session. Like, oh, if I need to create a contact before I assign him to the contact role, if I know what account I'm on, you can already leverage that, capture the contact information to then save the contact, and then immediately hop into, now I need to assign that new contact to an opportunity contact role all in one fell swoop. It's where does that interaction need to live to make it happen? But the short answer is that specific screen, no, because it's super protected by Salesforce, because again, that object is special, but it's not special because the data itself is no different than any other data in the org. It's accessible for you to query, to create, to edit, to delete. It's no different than an account object or an opportunity object record. You just have to do it in a different place.
One suggestion around this, though, I felt like that happened. I went through is like training my users to create the opportunities from the contact record to know who it is they're talking to sell. Like, because you don't sell to a company, you sell to a person, and so that can actually help, the thought process, so that so they don't get caught up in that hiccup that you're dealing with until a solution is identified. Might just help you reframe it with them.
Doesn't it automatically throw that contact in the contact role when you do it that way?
I think you have to tell Salesforce to do that somewhere. I don't think that's default, or is that? I think there's a setting that you can say yes or no with that, yeah or nay, but I'm not certain because I haven't set up a new instance in a while. But yes, it should be like grabbing that as like the contact role along the way. But someone else who's like more familiar with the brand new setup can tell me I'm wrong.
Is the request to add a new contact from the opportunity? Is that essentially what they're doing? Is they're adding contact roles and then they're realizing, oh, we don't have this person, and
this person isn't there? Yeah.
Yes,
I mean,
that was
essentially
the
they want
request.
to quick create it.
yeah, I would maybe like a quick action on the opportunity for creating contacts real quick. I don't know. It's
Related to the
thought.
account
Yeah.
that the opportunity is already related to.
Yeah.
That would be another easy.
So enlightening, right? If you click on the little down arrow, I'm gonna use the wrong language, but the little down arrow on contacts, there is a new contact, and it will keep you in the opportunity while you're creating that contact.
Yeah, from the tab, you mean, right?
The tab, yeah, the little down arrow, you can say new contact. Now, it won't default the account. So you have to put the account in there when you're creating the contact, but it still allows you to do it with the opportunity in the background.
Yeah. And
Right,
with
because
the
when
little plus in the corner too, right?
and
Okay.
it won't do that because when you're on the tab, when you're doing that downward caret, you're not in any kind of record detail context. You're at system level at that point, so it has no idea what account to grab onto to
Yeah, you have to,
to
all the
populate.
relationships are not filled in automatically, right? Is that what you're saying?
Right,
Right.
that would be the downside of it, but at least you could create the contact.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the question though, it's still like this is where you still have to play with it though. Even if you did that there to get back to the, you can't see me pointing to what I'm pointing
The
to,
screen,
but
like it,
it's right there.
it wouldn't
Um,
necessarily be available right away in that
Exactly.
contact roll drop down that you've already opened, because that drop down selection that you've already opened up and you're looking for this person that doesn't exist is already there. And so you'd have to close and refresh it to capture the new one that's created. So,
Exactly.
you know, without like some really fancy schmancy workarounds. Hi, Taco. Sorry, he's behind me, but he's also right next to me, like whining about stuff.
The
But
snow apparently.
So I want to ask like two things. So the first one is like, so to your point, Dave, like in that system context, it doesn't know any of its parent relationships, but that would be true anytime. Like there would be a weird assumption to say the contact I'm creating within the contact role is somehow associated directly with the firm that's on this, or sorry, the account that's on this opportunity, right? Like there's a lot of assumptions there.
Mhm.
And I'm wondering if that isn't why, like when I'm thinking about the Salesforce intentionality is like, did they build it this way so that you don't accidentally create a contact that's not really related to this parent account because it's quick and easy to do it from here? Like
Probably. I mean, that's very possible. I mean, one of the things we all know about Salesforce with all of its safety nets is it's really good at helping you not do something stupid. But because it's so safety netted, it also keeps you from doing something that you want to do or that you need to do.
But I think that the contact quick add from the tab might be a good solution though, because you would lose the add contact roles window, but you haven't left the opportunity. And when you reopen the contact roles, then it would be hot.
Yeah, I like that idea.
So, Christy, I want to take a step back though, because now I'm going to put my BA hat on. You said this is a brand new org, right?
Sort of.
Relatively
The company
new.
I work for just bought this company, so I'm still learning it. They have had Salesforce for about a year, but have not had an admin. So I'm trying to get through some of the basic things, and this is just, I keep getting fired questions.
Right. So with that, and I think we've all been there in some way, shape, or form. So we feel you on that one.
Okay.
One of the key questions though is has anybody gone through and actually documented what the business process is supposed to be? Has anybody gone to sales or sales leadership and either said, what is your process? Or has anybody gone to sales to say, this should be your process, to say, okay, you've engaged XYZ prospect, you know, you're talking to people 1, 2, 3, and then you create the opportunity. Like, has anybody actually lined out what that process flow is supposed to be? Because
No, not at all.
because that really should come first. And I know, you know, time is always of the essence to sales. They want it now, they want it yesterday, whatever. But you have a real opportunity here as the brand new admin to really take the reins on, okay, what should the process be, and then implement the tech. Strategy should always precede tech, not the other way around. If yes, sales is going to expect you to just put in a bunch of band-aids in Salesforce to make them do what they want to do, but what that's actually going to do is cause more harm than good in the long run, because when it comes time to do a process change or any other change, it becomes that much harder to undo and redo. So do you have at your liberty or your disposal the ability to say, okay, you know what, we're putting Salesforce off to the side. what is the sales process? What is the sales cycle? So that you're not having to come up with a custom solution for creating a new contact on the fly to then immediately insert into an opportunity contact role and.
Probably not, but I can certainly give it a shot. That's kind of not been I've kind of just, I introduced myself as, hey, I am your admin, and I got about 4 projects dumped, and I'm like, wait, I don't even understand anything about your org, let alone dumping these projects. You know, hey, this doesn't work. Hey, this is in place, and I need it yesterday. And I'm kind of trying to piece it all together.
Are you in IT? Are you in sales operations? Are you in marketing? What team are you
I'm
on?
in marketing. I'm under
Awesome.
the marketing.
Marketing, famously not IT. What that means is, do you have any kind of upward advocacy, like a director or anybody that can go to bat for you? If you put a plan together, do you have an advocate that can go fight for you to say, no, we're not ripping the covers off of Salesforce yet. We need to know how this is supposed to be done.
I can give it a shot. My boss is the VP of marketing, and so or SVP of marketing, so we can
Gotcha.
give it a shot.
Right. And I mean, you know, if push comes to shove and you need to put in a quick technical solution like this, obviously it's there, and any of us are here to help you if you don't know how to do it. But from a long-term perspective, always know the process first. And if you can get anybody above you to advocate for doing process before tech, that is going to be your long-term win.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, just a side note, while you were talking, I was poking around a little bit. So the one challenge we'd have with our original idea was that it does redirect to the contact create from the quick load. I don't know if that's something you can override. But when you create a new contact, even if you're on an opportunity, it took me to the opportunity or the contact I just created. So
What?
yeah,
Hey, Squire, what about the
Yeah.
plus in the global create?
you want to do it from here?
Over, yes, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that a modal?
So let's find out. So will that take me to the created record? All right, so that works. So from the global action, not from the drop down, is the way to go then.
Well, but
Yeah.
what if, but do you need, is that then leverageable if you didn't have any account context there?
Yeah, so if I go add a contact role.
All right, so let's say Steve doesn't exist here yet. I mean, he doesn't yet anyway. So, but like say you go into this, so cancel Steve, I guess.
Yep.
And so add contact roles, and we find out like our person, like, you know, Mickey Mouse doesn't exist, for example. We can't click on the modal on the global action from here. And so no matter what you do, you have to exit out, like, but you don't have to leave this page to use the global action. That's the win, I guess.
Yeah. And in theory, you can create a global action that is specific to like on the flies, right? So the global action layout, if there's something specific about one of these ad hoc type contacts, you could do that too, right?
Yeah. I did something similar to this for a client. They needed to be able to create phone leads on the fly. So when a phone lead came in through their, you know, round robin stuff, they wouldn't be interrupting their workspace.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Hope that helps a little. All right,
Absolutely.
next up I have,
Christy Kane.
yeah, there we go.
I have a list, but I'm going to go with the most time critical one right now. So what was called critical updates, now release updates. There's something by January 10th that we can actually play with regarding custom notifications and permission sets. So it's a two-part question. First part is, do they mean those chatter notifications in Notification Builder? Because I tested one of those this morning after turning it on and said, well, maybe they mean something else. And then part two is, when we get the sandbox previews this weekend, is it automatically turned on in those orgs that I can then further play with that particular item. It's due soon. Look, if you look under due soon, then it says something about permission sets needed for custom notifications.
There it is. Require user permission for the send custom notification action.
Yeah,
This
and
one?
it talks about flow when I looked at get started, but really, I'm thinking, does that include the process builder? Because that's where I'm launching my company's custom notifications from.
I need a bigger monitor.
Yeah, so this one, this is a very short version of a very detailed what's changing.
Getting started gives you a little more information because I clicked on that.
Yeah. So having said that, boy, unless we just wanted to have a big reading exercise, I think this might be one that we should take offline. But I'm fairly certain in the knowledge base article, it talks about whether it's on by default or not. You know, and actually now I think about the release notes has that big table to say what's going to happen when it goes live, whether it's on by default or has to be configured, et cetera, et cetera. Like there's that big grid of checkboxes that will tell you what's going to happen when it goes live. So that'll help that with the second part of your question about what's going to happen. But as far as the actual impact, it's probably going to require a little bit of reading. Can we circle back in success and see what we can answer for you?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. If we need to circle back, that's totally cool. I had until the 10th to play with it, but are you saying that you do believe that the sandbox that we get tonight, I get it tonight, would have it on because that's when they're actually going to actually enforce it?
So, well, let's go through that really quick here. So if I jump back over to
Sorry, I didn't make you make a deep dive into
no,
release
that's
notes.
okay. I just want to reference it. You should be able to say. Let's see here. Actually, it's probably going to be better to be. It's going to be painful to find it. Right. So
Okay.
what I was going to try to find is based on this checkbox, the same thing should happen in the sandbox, meaning if it's not going to be on at prod, then it won't be on in the sandbox in the preview. You'll have to activate it in order to test it. That's what I'm assuming is going to happen with this. But I would want to get the actual document to make sure.
Okay.
There we can test.
Yeah, because it wasn't a feature. It was one of those critical updates. So that's why I didn't realize it might be in their list.
Yeah, because I think there's a critical update section at the bottom here.
Okay. I will read into that further then too.
I printed this out so many thousand times that I can't remember where I've seen that, or it might be in the critical update section that it reviews that. Let's see.
Okay.
Let's try one more thing really quick here. And it's not critical updates anymore, it's release updates, right?
Enforced updates. Okay.
Which one is it?
Well, you found it for me, so I can go read into that.
Yeah,
for
right.
that part.
So like in here, it should then give you the details on whether it's on by default or not, and then actually should even go. It should take you to the actual grid. So that's where I would start. That's why I was saying like I could do some digging and help try to find that answer for you.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Thank you.
But as far as the feature, are you good there?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the thing. I didn't know, and maybe it says it in this documentation, if truly custom notifications was that notification from notification builder, or if it was like something else that might be named that within Salesforce that I'm completely unaware of.
Yeah, I mean, because it's referencing flow and you can call those custom notifications from Apex, my gut is that it's the one you're thinking it is. But again, I'd want to reread it to make sure.
That's great, because I only have it launching from Process Builder, not from actual Lightning Flow. So it was working in when I enabled it in my sandbox today. Yay, thank you.
Yeah, Salesforce Flow. Don't forget, they're changing the name of it.
Just like
Oh.
everything.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. You know what? For the first 3 weeks, you write the last year, right? We still write 2020 in your
That's
chat.
good.
No.
Okay, but I'm just, like it's habit is what I'm getting at. It's
No,
habit. I'm going to call it the
no.
wrong thing.
I understand what you're saying, but I wrote a check today and there was no writing 2020. Hello, Taco.
All right. Well, we'll follow up on that in success and see if we come up with any more answers for you. Okay.
Okay, and I'm going to get back in line for a totally different question. So.
Okay. So that leads us to Mirage. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly.
Yeah. So my question is basically, related to the lookup fields. So we have implemented a Lightning component on case detail page. So that basically, the lookup component which we have put on the case detail page basically creates the case product. So as soon when we try to create a new product, and we have some lookup fields as well. So at the field level, we have lookup filters enabled for that. And when we are trying to search the values in the lookup fields, it doesn't populate anything. But when we disable the lookup filter at the field level and try to search the the values in the lookup fields, it populates the values. So I just wonder, what could be the issue there? The lookup values are not getting populated when the lookup filters are enabled.
All right, that's a good one. Interesting. And sorry, I think you said this, but just to clarify, so the lookup filter doesn't work in the normal UI or in your Lightning component, or only in the Lightning component that you're referencing? Sorry, did we lose him?
Sorry, I got dropped. You were saying something.
Sorry, so you were saying the lookup filter doesn't work in both the standard interface and in the Lightning component, or only in the Lightning component does it fail?
I think it works. It works on the standard interface. But when I create the custom Lightning component, in that case, it doesn't work.
Sure. And the Lightning component you've written, it's standard Lightning web component. Is that what you're saying?
It's Aura component.
Or it's Aura. Okay. So the one question I have, I don't know if this is the answer, but I believe that the filter is a UI interface, not a programmatic interface. So it might not carry through to the Aura, but I'm not certain of that. Maybe someone else knows that on the call. Because it's really like a page validation. I don't know if that carries through to programmatic reinterpretations of that interface.
So maybe I'm oversimplifying, but is it at the UI layer? I thought when you started setting lookup filters, you were doing that at the core field level.
Let's see here. See if I can create one here. Yeah, we'll be able to do the standard. One second. While I'm doing this, if anyone else in the room has ideas, please.
I just was going to ask a quick question. I might have missed it when in your description, but the lookup filter, the field that you're filtering on, inside of, or on the field definition for the lookup filter, that's matching or working directly with the values that you're looking to populate on your component? Just wondering if there might be mismatch there between the
No,
filter value.
no, no. So, so it's, we have the same implementation in the Visual Force, and it works there. It matches the values and it works in the Visual Force. But in Lightning, it doesn't work.
So I feel like I've run into this situation when I was using filtered lookups in Classic and then tried to use them in Lightning also, and they just weren't situating. And I don't think we ever got to the bottom of it. We just kind of retrained our users, which is not the
I
right
see.
answer.
Right, like filtered lookups were just a problem in Lightning, but that was a while ago, right?
It was. I don't know if it ever got resolved. I know that where the situation I was having was we just worked past it and, trained the users to not have to deal with it, but that's not the right answer. So I don't know if it's still a known issue or if it is, if there's something more to it.
We have the
So,
same problem.
Do we have any
That's what I was
workaround?
looking at.
So sorry.
Get him, Taco. Squire, that was the exact same page I was about to pull up. But what's interesting, the verbiage is interesting. If you scroll down a little bit.
Yeah.
So under the gray box, in Salesforce Classic, administrators can make lookup filters required as optional or optional. In Lightning, all lookup filters are required, blah, blah, blah. The fact that they've made an explicit statement of in Classic, you can do this, in Lightning, you can do that, makes me wonder if there's other stuff associated with Classic versus Lightning that might be leading to this issue. It might not be explicitly stated anywhere, but they've already put a fork in the road here to say that your experience is going to be different in Classic than it will be in Lightning. And maybe just Salesforce hasn't resolved that yet.
Yeah, I did a quick Google or Lightning or lookup filter supported in custom Lightning components, and I see it's not the most current, but it was in 2019 that there's an idea out there.
And the idea is still open or under consideration, but not implemented.
It's still open.
Gotcha.
But again, sorry to interrupt. So, I just want to add a point over here. The known issues and ideas are totally different, right? So,
But
doesn't
it's not an issue if it's not intended to be an issue. Which is why the idea is there, right? It's like it's not a bug. It's just it's not a feature.
It's we wish we had.
So then what's the use of so if it works in Visual Force, I just wonder, how come it is not possible to work in Lightning component? And because because we have the users where they need the lookup filters, right? And we want to implement the same in the Lightning. So we are in no situation, we cannot we can disable the lookup filter. So I just wonder if we do have any workaround for that.
Yeah, my gut says the workaround would be to, rather than simply reference the field, you'd have to write a method that pulls back, like only validates that lookup against a criteria. Only validates that field against criteria. You'd have to not use the standard field, but use a custom field that does a search that has criteria built into it that feeds back to the lookup field on save.
Oh, you mean to say that we have to, customize it again, for the lookup filters in order to match the criteria and then populate the values?
That would be my guess. It's a workaround and a bad one, but if the feature's not supported, you'd have to come up with a workaround, which would be something like that. Barb, do you have the link to that idea just so we can put it in the
I'm grabbing it right now. It's on my work laptop. I'll put it in the chat in just a second. sending
Or
it-
if you want to put in success, that's fine too, if it saves you a step.
What's that?
If you would just want to drop it into the success community in response to Miraj's question, that's fine too. It's going to end up there.
Okay, I can do
And
Thank
that.
if
you very much.
somehow you figure out resolution of that, I'd love to know what you did. Because we had an implementation partner try to do something, try to figure out something for us, and we just couldn't. We couldn't get it to work. It just came up again today. A customer was complaining about it because it's in our community.
And
We
let's get
worked
that
with
voted up.
Salesforce. Yeah.
Well, so I'm gonna back up. Maybe you already covered it, but there is that list of supported objects.
Yeah.
What objects or objects are we working with that may be part of the problem?
I thought it was to look up products from a case detail. Is that right?
Okay.
That's what we're doing too. That's our issue as
Got
well.
it. Okay.
Is
We are
it-
on the
is
same
it-
page.
Is it to select the products that the case is referring to, or is it to?
No, so basically, it basically creates a new product related to the case.
Creates a new product related to the case. So is there any question at all within this process that perhaps the case and or product doesn't exist to be leveraged and that's the problem? Or are we confident that all data that we need exists somewhere on an object and it really truly is an issue with the lookup filter?
I mean,
Right, like it's not that the lookup is failing, but that it just can't find what you're looking for. Is that what you're kind of getting at?
That's what I'm wondering. I mean, going back to like our question at the top of the call of, depending on when you try to start to do the thing, did the record exist at that point in time to be leveraged?
In our case, it does. It does exist.
Okay.
yeah, it does exist. It's
Okay.
basically, I mean, the lookup fields already exist, and we are just, the values already exist, and we are just trying to pull it from the lookup field, and then we hit the save button, and the case product gets created. The values definitely exist because as soon as we disable the filter, right, it populates the values.
Okay, got it. So it's not an order of operations thing then.
One more thing here. Sorry, the dead silence is frustrating, I think, for everybody, but I just. Sorry. So I was poking around a little bit. There's a couple references in Salesforce Stack Exchange back to that the way the Aura component's written could be an indicator, and I'm kind of paraphrasing what I'm reading, but Lightning form doesn't support the lookup filter field. Record form doesn't. So I might look a little bit at how you built your Aura component, because that could be a limiter as well.
Maybe. I mean,
I'm really just throwing darts. I'm sorry, it's not a good answer.
no, maybe. So
Let's see here. Just for reference, like I found, like this is just, oops, not that. Sorry, wrong keyboard. 1 second here. So like this is the first of a whole bunch of links that I saw about like the lookup filter not playing nicely with certain Aura tags. So maybe it's that. Again, not great, but something to think about.
okay.
I posted a link. I don't know if it's the exact situation you're looking at, but it was somebody's workaround ideas. So I don't know if it might be helpful if it's similar. You can take a look at that one I threw in there. See if it jives with what you're looking to do, or if their workaround for what they experienced might be helpful for you.
You can switch to a visual flow. I know that'll work. That's also a terrible answer. So
Only bad answers, please. Only wrong answers, please. Right?
yeah, there you go. It's one of those days.
God, multi-pick lists.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Quick create, S controls. I mean, you know.
Just make it a
Taylor, you're
long
breaking
text
up.
field. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
So, okay, I'm just, I don't know if this, it looks, somewhat similar to my problem. So there is a known issue, open. So I'm just,
Is
pasting
there?
over here.
Do you have a link to the issue record?
Yeah, I'm just trying to write this. Yep.
If you put it in chat, we'll add it to this thread too, just for reference. Maybe we can find some way to solve it when with a larger group or different skill set group.
We can all vote it up. Like
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Votes matter.
Yep.
So this one.
Perfect. Thank you. Is it okay if we move on to the next ticket, since we're not really giving you a lot of assistance on this one right now, Mirage?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, thank you. I don't want to cut you off, but I feel like we're kind of just, all right, I should say, I'm speaking for myself. I'm just like throwing darts. I'm not really being very helpful.
Okay.
We need Jake. Jake blew us off today.
So I'm really
Jake,
sorry.
we miss
I'm really sorry.
you.
Go ahead.
So just one point. Is it possible that I can just reach out to the Salesforce support? Do you think that they can be helpful here for this particular type of issue?
The more customized your problem, the less help they are.
Yeah.
To be honest.
It's never a bad idea, but don't put your hopes on it. Yeah.
Right.
We spent a lot of time with Salesforce support on this and it didn't happen. But you can try.
Right.
Okay. All right. Okay, fine. Thanks.
All right. Christy is back in line.
Okay, it's a totally different topic. I don't want to take up the whole thing. So we have a process builder that has a scheduled chatter message 2 days before your campaign tied task is due. And it was working absolutely fine. It was great. We did update that process builder to add some other stuff. And then the last couple of weeks, it's still firing even if somebody already closed out that task, because it's only supposed to fire if the task is still open and you didn't do it 2 days before the due date. Is that why? Is it because we updated the process builder, or is there something else you think I should look at?
It's lost. It's like lost in space. And so it's going to still do what it does. What's the name of the space where you can go check that?
Scheduled jobs
That
or job
one.
queue.
Yep.
Yeah.
That and
The flow interviews, the paused flow interviews.
Okay,
And-
so my only issue with that, which sounds like a great place to look, that the number of them that I would have to go and find the task and see, did they close that one? Did they close that one? I feel like it's such a salad bowl of Skittles and M&Ms put together when you're looking at the paused.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, when you think about what's happening, so each one of those tasks is tied back to an instantiation ID, and that's how it finds itself to recalculate itself if something changes. The process is now a different process, and so it can't find its relationship.
It's orphaned.
Yeah.
Okay,
right?
so because I upgraded to a new version, even if I didn't change that node at all, That's why it's misfiring. And then once these all filter out, the one that's there would be okay.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, that's what I've seen with workflow rules. And process uses the same engine underneath the covers.
Okay, well then that's good to know. Then I'll just be like, well, we updated it for another node and that's what
So-
happened. Okay.
But what you could do is you should be able to find every task that's tied to that process based on that ID, and then evaluate only the ones that are applicable. Like you'd be able to do a comparison there to say, like my high level, give me all of the tasks that are queued because of process 1, 2, 3. When was it created? And which did you say campaign?
Yeah, that it's tied to a
campaigns?
campaign.
Which campaigns have updated since I changed the process builder? Find their interviews. You'd be able to get a small, it's still going to be kludgy, but you're going to have a smaller evaluation if you kind of take column A and column B and smush them together.
Okay, it's the task itself that where the campaign field is not empty that says, are you still open 2 days before your due date? Go remind them. So it's the task, not necessarily the campaign being updated.
Right. That task
Okay.
is waiting to execute itself.
Okay.
Now, hold on. When you say I'm lost here. When you say task, do you mean task detail record or flow task? Like,
Oh yeah, sorry, task
time
detail
dependent.
record. Yeah,
Okay,
time
got it.
dependent
Okay.
on the task. And
Got it.
I'll have to figure out, Squire, how to do what you just said. So I'll have to go investigate that on how to do that.
That whole table is available to you because we've used it to wipe out mistaken like queued events. You should be able to query it from like a workbench type thing.
I was just about to ask that. Yeah.
Okay, so if I hear you right, you're saying take the task ID and then search that task ID within the list of the queued items.
It might not be task ID. It might be what actually created the task. I don't remember what the linkage is, but when you look at the data architecture of that queued event, we're using task and event, and I feel like it's
Hey, Squire, hey, super quick. I have Workbench open on my screen. Can I share and you can walk us through it?
Yeah. I just got to remember what table that is. But like, there's an ID column that says I was created by this thing. If it evaluates again, wipe it or readjust it or recalculate it. So I just got to remember the name of that table.
So here I'm in queries.
Yeah, let's see here. Too many screens open.
You say too many. I say not enough.
Well, that's also.
And I don't use Workbench very often at this point. So.
Oh my God, it's the best thing ever. How have we not talked about this,
It's
Christy?
on my list for this year. It's on
Don't bother. It's going away.
They've been saying that for like 3 years.
Yeah, it's really going away now. They're going to put some stuff in VS Code to make it sunset.
Oh, no.
Then what am I going to use to learn this kind of stuff that is so great that Dale likes it?
Yeah, well, you can keep playing with it, but just don't hook your wagon to it. Just be part of it.
Well, I not only hooked my wagon to it, I dropped some stakes in the ground. I mean, that thing's earthquake proof.
Me too.
Let's see here. I'm trying to find. So the table is called. Is it scheduled? Let's see here.
Nothing under schedule.
Let's see.
Flow
Is
interview?
it under paused? Is it under paused? Paused flow interview?
I don't think it's the flows that holds it, Barb. But do you think it is?
Well, the paused flow interview is sitting out there, but I think what she's talking about is, are you saying that now you've updated the process builder, it's a different version, so it's now not, if you change the value, it's not taking away the old notification.
Right.
Okay. And I thought the interview had to do with the process itself firing, not the outcome. But maybe you're on the right track, Barb.
I think paused flow interviews are supposed to respect a change that would then remove the activity, whatever it is that you've generated, whether it's a notification or whether it's a task, etc. Once the criteria is no longer true. And
That's what I thought, but that's firing anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
But finding it here seems to be another release note kind of.
It might be flow interview. It might be that flow interview one that you're, I mean, I don't know if you can grab the first one or whatever.
Pause
was
label.
paused from screen. Oh,
And this is a
pause
dev
label.
org, so God only knows what we're going to find, if anything. But
That's okay. That gives me a starting point to try and look at the rest of them, but I'm kind of hoping it filters itself out since we don't have plans to change the task process builder for, for now.
I kind of lean with what Squire was saying earlier. After a period of time, once those other ones go away, that then the new ones being created should operate in the fashion you would expect.
Okay. Can I ask
But-
one more different question? And this is something you might not be able to answer, but I'm going to throw it out and Dale's going to laugh. my-
what did YRC do this time?
My company is changing their name and their brand from YRCW to Yellow. So we're going to have to change everybody's user IDs and everybody's email addresses and my domain. And we have Einstein Activity Capture. So I heard we might have duplicate emails. Has anyone ever gone through that and can give it advice?
You can change the username, you can change the emails. You got to have it be a very well-timed effort. You're going to have a problem with my domain.
Okay. So can you and I chat offline at some point? Because
Yeah.
I'm trying, Josh,
Hold
developer,
on,
and
hold
I
up.
are, okay.
Whoa,
Hold
Joy.
up. The my domain can be changed. It's gonna you have to contact support. I did it at one of my former employers. They rebranded. Can be done, not should be done on a regular basis. So like what you obviously right. What is selected needs to be somewhat permanent, right? It's not like willy-nilly changes, but it's like, oh,
It's
our company
YRC.
totally.
Yeah. You don't know what you're dealing with here on this one. I
Well,
mean,
but-
this is
but
all
the
sorts
other-
of fun.
So the other thing is just make sure it's something that's maybe flexible, I guess. Maybe
Yeah.
it's not as custom domain as brand specific. Maybe it's, ABC 123. I don't know, like something else that is important to the company space, but not brand
Just-
specific.
Okay. Well, I
Trucks,
just want to hear
just-
all the downsides from it so I can share that with the business because
Yeah, I whatever it's going to be, make sure it's long term because Salesforce really does not like to do that, but they do understand that names change and that it happens.
Okay,
But
So,
I-
Christy,
they can
may
do
I
it.
suggest? No, go ahead.
I think they can do it for you, but they have to do it for you in the background.
Yep.
And then you've got your own cleanup work that you need to do that
Mm.
might be related to any pointing to the old domain name,
Yep.
and like Joy said, they'll do it for you if you have a change, but they're not going to want to do it every 6 months or so. So
it doesn't happen that
I
often.
agree.
It just
Come on.
happens more than other companies. That's all.
Yeah, may I just suggest trucks.salesforce.com?
Legit.
Sorry. It's funny.
So the object is that we're referencing, by the way, is it's the workflow time queue object, but it's not accessible from Workbench. And I was just trying to find how we got to it. But it's we should be able to query that and modify it, but it's not accessible from Workbench.
So how did you
Yeah,
Access.
that's what I'm trying to remember.
Oh, okay.
Workflow or flow?
Workflow. So if we're talking about the same thing, if it's the scheduled events that are going to go out the door, they all sit in the time-based workflow. Sorry, not time-based, in the workflow time queue table.
Got it.
That's interesting that it'd be in workflow when, okay.
Because I'm
I don't doubt it
no,
at all. It's
doubt me, please don't. Because I mean, like,
I'm guessing-
it's one of those things that you fix it and you're like, pat yourself in the back and move on, and then assume. I mean, I feel pretty confident, like say 65 to 75% confident that it's the same object handling these scheduled events. Whether Process Builder threw them out there, or Flow throws them out there, or Workflow throws them out there. But I could very easily be very wrong. So we were basing it. The work that we did was based on scheduled events because of the workflow rules. But if it's the same engine, then same result. So that's what I was trying to find.
Gotcha.
Okay, cool.
Now I have more homework. I have to find that code.
And I have another meeting, so thank you all so much.
Thank you.
No more brain teasers. Thanks. Bye.
You're not invited to any more of our meetings.
No, Christy, always come back. Always come back, Christy. That's really funny. So yeah, we are approaching the end of our session real quick here. We had one other pop up from Ernesto. Is that what's next? The two orgs connected. I have experienced that, but I didn't set it up and I don't know how it's set up now. So
Okay. Hi, everyone. Great. Thanks.
but if someone
Works.
else has experienced having two orgs connected and talking to each other in a way that can help Ernesto, like speak up, please, please, please.
Guess not.
Well,
Depends on what you're trying to do. It's a big question, right?
Oh my gosh. It's we're planning on merging two orgs. But
Ooh, I've done that.
yeah. But before we go to that effort, I need to understand what the business is really going to use it for. We have to go through the business processes and all that kind of stuff. So even before we get there, they seem to be, of course, time sensitive. So for me, I kind of like, well, we can always integrate a Salesforce org with another Salesforce org, and we can call it a day. But yeah, so I don't think that's the right solution. But I was wondering if anyone just did it for kind of the same. We just moved data around, like accounts, products, nothing major.
You say products, nothing major.
Well, the CRM, let's say the standard basic CRM, where you just get some data from opportunities and accounts and stuff. So yes, I know, but we have so many custom objects and so many custom apps that will require a lot more time versus just grabbing some account and contact name to use that custom app on another Salesforce. So there's many different paths.
So does this
Yeah, I mean-
custom org use the same sort of processes that you use, the same sort of and the same sort of values for certain fields and pick lists, stages for your opportunities, etc.?
They're not.
Yeah.
I know. But I think, a lot of this is kind of to use that custom app that has nothing to do with opportunities or anything. All we need is really the count and the contact. And obviously some kind of validation with the product, but yeah, okay. It sounds more messy than anything else. So my plan is to merge the two and just come up with one. But that will take many months. So this is what it is.
In my opinion, you're better off merging than trying to connect and integrate and keep them independent. It's way
Yeah.
to do that cleanup and kind of deprecate an org. So good luck with that.
Yep. Thank you.
And if
There's
you're
also
going
the
to actually
duplicate.
merge them,
Yeah. There's also
you're gonna
duplicate user licenses, right? That would, you'd have to pay for a license in each org. So you can't have 1 foot in
Yeah,
one
that too.
license that gets you into two orgs. You have to have a license for each org if you have any users that would be in both places. So
Right.
it's another cost to consider.
Yep. Thank you. Not a great idea.
So many good ideas, right?
Yes.
So
right,
I've
well-
got to go.
Yeah, everybody's got to go. I think it's one of those busy weeks. Thank you everyone for joining. There's a couple of takeaways that I know I have. If we didn't get your answers, or if you come up with answers, John, please post them in Success so we can keep interacting on the topics, because these are all good questions. Everyone have a great, healthy, safe weekend, and we'll talk in 2 weeks.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye, Joy. It's nice to see you.
Bye, everybody. Don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Bye.
it's great.
Bye.
See ya.